Did you buy this $50 dress from the thrift store? You couldn't even buy a good dress for your husband's funeral.
I'm the only one trying to bring class to this family.
The morning they buried my Clarence, the sky wept with me. Rain fell soft and steady on Mount Zion Baptist Church, where my husband had preached for 37 years. I stood at the entrance, greeting mourners in my simple black dress, a dress that would soon become the center of the most humiliating moment of my life. "Sister Evelyn, we're so sorry for your loss," whispered Mrs. Washington, squeezing my hands. Behind her, a line of church members waited to pay their respects. Their faces blurred together through my tears. I had chosen this dress carefully. To most eyes, it appeared modest, appropriate for a pastor's widow. Long sleeves, high neckline, falling just below my knees. What they couldn't see were the hand-sewn French seams, the Italian silk lining, or the tiny EJ embroidered inside the collar. My own design, crafted in my Paris atelier. $50,000 of understated elegance that looked like something from JCPenney. That was always my way. Hide in plain sight. "Mama, you holding up okay?" My daughter Aisha appeared at my elbow, her teacher's salary evident in her off-the-rack black suit. But Lord, she wore it with such grace. That girl got her daddy's heart, pure gold. "I'm managing, baby." I patted her hand. "Where's your brother?" "Malik's inside with." She paused, her jaw tightening. "With Vanessa." "Ah yes, Vanessa." My daughter-in-law of 3 years, who never missed an opportunity to remind everyone she worked at Atlanta's most exclusive boutique. If only she knew she'd been cashing my checks all along. We entered the sanctuary, and there she was, Vanessa Johnson, née Williams, holding court near my husband's casket. Her designer suit screamed for attention with its gold buttons and excessive tailoring. She'd paired it with red-bottom shoes that clicked against the church floor like Satan's own tap dance. "Girl, you know Pastor Johnson never did have much," I heard her telling her cousin. "Look at this casket, so basic. If it was my daddy-in-law, I'd have gotten him something with real gold handles, you feel me?" My son Malik stood beside her, shoulders slumped, saying nothing. My boy, 6'2" of wasted potential, letting his wife disrespect his father's memory. I approached slowly, each step measured. The crowd parted. "Vanessa," I said quietly. "Thank you for coming." She turned, gave me a once-over that started at my sensible black pumps and ended at my silver hair, pulled back in a simple bun. Then she laughed. Actually laughed. At her father-in-law's funeral. "Oh, Mama Evelyn." Her voice carried across the sanctuary. "Lord have mercy, you couldn't even dress right for your own husband's funeral? This looks like something from a thrift store." The church went silent. Even the organ stopped playing. "Vanessa." Aisha stepped forward, but I touched her arm. "Baby, what is that supposed to be?" Vanessa continued, gesturing at my dress. "Polyester?" "Girl, this is 2025, not 1925. Even Walmart got better funeral wear than this." Someone gasped. I think it was Sister Patterson. Or maybe it was me. Malik finally spoke. "Vanessa, please." "What?" "I'm just saying. Your mama always dressing like she's shopping at Goodwill. It's embarrassing. Here I am, working at EJ Couture, trying to bring some class to this family, and she's showing up to her own husband's funeral looking like the help." EJ Couture. My boutique. Where this fool woman had worked for 2 years without ever bothering to learn what EJ stood for. Evelyn Johnson. That's enough. Aisha's teacher voice cut through the whispers. "Daddy's lying right there, and you're concerned about fashion?" "Somebody got to be," Vanessa shot back. "Y'all walking around here looking any kind of way. No wonder Malik can't get promoted at the bank, probably too embarrassed to bring his boss around his ragged family." I felt something shift inside me. 30 years of hiding my success, of living modestly so my children would learn values over vanity, and this was the result? My son married a woman who measured worth by labels and price tags? Vanessa, I said, my voice steady as Clarence's used to be from the pulpit. This dress was a gift from my late husband. It has sentimental value. She snorted. Sentimental? More like detrimental. To everybody's eyes. A few of Vanessa's cousins snickered. My church family stood frozen, mortified. Mama, let's go sit down, Aisha whispered, trying to guide me away. But I stood firm, looking at my daughter-in-law. Really looking at her. The boutique uniform she wore even to funerals. That pencil skirt and blazer combo with the EJ gold pin on the lapel. The pin I had designed. The uniform I had approved. For the employees of the company I built from nothing. You're right, Vanessa, I said finally. This dress probably isn't appropriate. She smirked, triumphant. See? Even you know it. After all, I continued, it's worth more than your annual salary. Her smile faltered. What? But I had already turned away, walking toward my husband's casket with Aisha at my side. Behind us, I heard Malik hissing at his wife, the whispers starting up again. Let her wonder. Let her laugh. The truth has a way of revealing itself, and Vanessa Johnson was about to learn that some people dress down not because they have to, but because they choose to. As I placed my hand on Clarence's casket, I whispered, I tried, baby. I tried to stay humble like you wanted. But some folks only understand one language. And that language was about to be spoken fluently. After we laid Clarence to rest, I sat in my living room, still in that thrift store dress, watching the rain streak down windows. The house felt too quiet without his laughter, his off-key humming, his voice calling out, Evie, where you put my reading glasses? Mrs. Johnson? Grace Carter stood in the doorway, holding a cup of tea. My assistant of 20 years, the only person besides Clarence who knew the full truth. I thought you might need this. I accepted the cup gratefully. Thank you, Grace. How bad is it? She pulled out her phone. The boutique in Buckhead needs your signature on the new inventory orders. The factory in South Carolina is ready for your inspection next week. And... She paused. There's been another complaint about Vanessa. What now? She told a customer, a judge's wife, that she was too old and too wide for a particular dress. Said it loud enough for half the store to hear. I closed my eyes. And Malik has no idea his wife is one write-up away from termination? None whatsoever. She tells him she's being groomed for management. I laughed, but it was bitter. The only thing she's being groomed for is the unemployment line. You see, this is what nobody understood about me. They saw Evelyn Johnson, pastor's wife, mother of two, driver of a 15-year-old Toyota Camry. They saw my modest brick house on the black side of Atlanta, my clothes from the clearance rack, my coupon clipping at Kroger. They didn't see the empire. 12 boutiques across the Southeast. 2 textile factories. A design house in Paris. Net worth that would make their heads spin. All built quietly, carefully, over 30 years of 16-hour days and sleepless nights. Why do you do it? Grace asked, settling into the chair across from me. She'd asked this question before. Why hide who you are? I sipped my tea, thinking. You remember where I came from, Grace. Bankhead projects. Mama cleaned houses, Daddy worked construction when he could find it. We had nothing but love and determination. But you're not there anymore. No, but my children needed to understand that struggle. Needed to know what it felt like to work for everything, to value people over possessions. Clarence agreed. We wanted them humble. Aisha turned out fine. Aisha has her daddy's spirit. But Malik. I shook my head. That boy been looking for the easy way since he was 10. And now he's married to a woman who thinks respect comes from a price tag. Grace pulled up something on her tablet. Speaking of which, you need to see this. It was Vanessa's Instagram. Post after post of designer goods, luxury trips, restaurant selfies. The caption on the latest, boss lady lifestyle. While some people settling for less, I'm blessed. Hashtag bougie babe, hashtag EJ hashtag too blessed. How? I studied the images. On her salary? Credit cards. Lots of them. I had accounting do some discreet checking. She and Malik are drowning in debt. Almost $80,000. Lord have mercy. There's more. She's been telling people at work that she's about to get a major promotion. Says she has an in with upper management. An in with whom? Grace smiled grimly. She's been flirting with Mr. Davidson from the Lenox store. Thinks he can fast-track her to management. Davidson? He's a floor supervisor. He couldn't fast-track a pizza delivery. We sat in silence for a moment. Outside, the rain had stopped, and weak sunlight filtered through the clouds. You know, Grace said carefully, Clarence is gone now. You don't have to keep hiding. I thought about my husband, how he'd insisted we live simply despite my success. A pastor's wife shouldn't flaunt wealth, he'd said. It sets the wrong example. So I'd hidden it all, letting people think the money came from his modest salary and my little sewing business. But Clarence was gone, and his son had married a woman who mocked me at his funeral. Not yet, I decided. Let Vanessa keep digging her grave. The deeper the hole, the harder the fall. Grace nodded, understanding. What about Malik? My son needs to learn who he married, and he needs to learn it the hard way. I stood, walking to the window. From here, I could see my neighbor Mrs. Chen working in her garden. She waved, and I waved back. Good people on this street. Honest people. The kind who'd give you their last dollar if you needed it. You know what hurts most? I said quietly. It's not the disrespect. It's that she works for me, wears my designs, cashes my checks, and still looks at me like I'm beneath her. Pride goeth before a fall, Grace quoted. Indeed it does. I turned from the window. Schedule a visit to the Buckhead Boutique next week. Unannounced. I think it's time I did some shopping. Grace's eyes gleamed. The usual disguise? Oh yes. Church lady special. Let's see how Vanessa treats customers she thinks can't afford to be there. As Grace left to make arrangements, I walked to my bedroom closet. Behind the regular clothes hung a hidden door. I pressed my thumb to the scanner, and it opened silently. Inside, racks of couture. Shoes worth more than cars. Handbags that had graced magazine covers. All my own designs, all wearing that tiny EJ label that Vanessa saw every day without understanding. I touched the dress I'd worn to Clarence's funeral. Custom-made in Paris, hand-beaded by artisans who'd worked for Chanel. The polyester that had made Vanessa laugh. Oh, daughter-in-law, I whispered to the empty room. You have no idea who you're dealing with. But she would. Soon enough, she would. What would you have done if your own daughter-in-law humiliated you in front of your family? Let me know in the comments. 2 weeks after Clarence's funeral, I sat at my kitchen table, listening to my son lie to me. Mama, Vanessa's getting promoted next month, Malik said, not meeting my eyes. Regional manager. Big raise coming. I sipped my coffee, store brand, in a chipped mug. Always keeping up appearances. That's wonderful, baby. You must be proud. Yeah, she's. He shifted in his seat. She's really making moves. Says we'll be able to help you out soon. You know, with bills and stuff. Help me out. Lord, give me strength. I'm managing fine, Malik. But Mama, in this house? Daddy didn't leave much insurance money. Vanessa says you should sell, get a little apartment somewhere. Something more manageable. I set down my mug carefully. Vanessa says that? She's just thinking practical. This place needs work. The roof, the plumbing. You can't afford all that on Daddy's pension. If only he knew the check I'd written last week for the youth center Clarence loved. $100,000. Anonymous as always. I'll think about it, I said. The front door slammed. Vanessa's voice carried from the foyer. Malik. You here? You won't believe what happened at work today. She strutted into the kitchen, designer bag swinging, those red-bottom heels clicking on my linoleum. Stopped short when she saw me. Oh. Hey, Mama Evelyn. The mama dripped with sarcasm. Still in your housecoat at 2 p.m.? I'm retired, Vanessa. I can wear what I please. She snorted, dropping into a chair. Retired from what? Sewing on buttons. Vanessa, Malik warned weakly. What? I'm just saying. Anyway, baby, guess what? Mr. Davidson personally complimented my sales today. Said I have executive potential. I almost choked on my coffee. Davidson, who Grace had informed me was being investigated for inappropriate behavior with female employees. That's nice, dear, I managed. Nice. She laughed. It's more than nice. It's my ticket up. Pretty soon, I'll be running that whole store. Then maybe the district. Sky's the limit when you got class and vision. She turned to Malik. We should celebrate. That new restaurant downtown, Chez Laurent? The one where appetizers start at $50. Baby, we can't afford. Can't afford. Her voice went sharp. I'm about to be regional manager. We can afford whatever I say we can afford. I watched my son shrink into himself. This woman had him so turned around he couldn't tell up from down. Actually, Vanessa continued, eyeing me. Mama Evelyn, you should come with us. My treat. Let me show you how successful people live. That's kind of you, but... No, I insist. She leaned forward, predatory. You need to get out more. See the world beyond church and grocery stores. Maybe if you'd exposed yourself to finer things, you wouldn't be stuck in this. She gestured around my kitchen. Situation. My situation? Living like this. Dressing like that. No offense, but it's embarrassing. When I tell my coworkers about my mother-in-law, I have to lie. Say you're retired from corporate, not sitting home clipping coupons. Vanessa. Malik finally found his voice. What? Someone needs to tell her the truth. Look at Aisha, teaching at that public school, driving that old Honda. Y'all act like poverty is a virtue. Well, it's not. It's a choice. A bad one. I stood slowly. I need to start dinner. Probably something from a can, Vanessa muttered. I turned. What was that? She met my eyes, bold as brass. I said, probably something from a can. That's all you cook. Can this box that? No wonder Malik was so skinny when I met him. My mama's cooking is fine, Malik said quietly. Fine for poor folks, Vanessa shot back. But we're not poor anymore. At least, I'm not. I work at E.J. Couture, baby. Do you know how exclusive that is? They don't hire just anybody. You need class, sophistication, a certain je ne sais quoi. I almost laughed. This girl throwing around French phrases she couldn't spell, working at Moi Boutique, telling me about class. Tell me about your boss, I said innocently. The owner. You must have met her. Vanessa waved dismissively. Nobody meets her. She's like a ghost. Probably some old white lady who inherited the business. Doesn't matter. I'll meet her when I'm running things. You seem very confident about this promotion. Why shouldn't I be? I'm the best they got. My sales numbers are through the roof. Another lie. Grace had shown me her real numbers, bottom third of the staff, propped up only by the few customers who tolerated her attitude for the quality of the clothes. Plus, Vanessa continued, preening, I understand luxury. I live it. Not like some employees who just play dress-up for work. When customers see me, they see someone who belongs in that world. And you think appearance is everything? In fashion? Absolutely. Image is everything. That's why. She looked me up and down again. That's why some people succeed and others don't. My phone buzzed. Grace, texting, quarterly reports ready for review. Profit up 12%. I silenced it quickly, but Vanessa had noticed. Who's that? Your church friend asking for a ride to bingo. Something like that. She laughed, that cruel tinkle that made my teeth hurt. Lord, Mama Evelyn, you really need to upgrade your life. Starting with that phone, is that an iPhone 8? They stopped making those years ago. It works fine for my needs. Your needs. She shook her head. See, that's the difference between you and me. You think about needs. I think about wants. And I want it all. She stood, gathering her things. Come on, Malik. Let's go to Chez Laurent. Mama Evelyn, offer stands if you want to join. I'll even let you borrow something decent to wear. Vanessa, we really can't, Malik started. Can't is a word for losers, she snapped. Are you a loser, Malik? He looked at me, then at his wife, torn between two worlds. No, baby. I'm not a loser. Then act like it. Let's go. They left, Vanessa's heels clicking, Malik's footsteps heavy with debt they couldn't afford. I stood in my kitchen, in my housecoat, with my old phone and my chipped mug. Then I walked to my hidden office. The real Evelyn Johnson stared back from the wall. Magazine covers, industry awards, photos with fashion icons. All locked away from view. I picked up my other phone, the latest model with the encrypted connection to my Paris office. Grace? Move up the boutique visit. This week. Something happen? My daughter-in-law just invited me to dinner to show me how successful people live. Grace chuckled. Oh my. She really has no idea, does she? None whatsoever. And that's about to be her biggest problem. I hung up and stared at the photo of Clarence on my desk. I tried to do it your way, baby. Stay humble, stay hidden. But some lessons can't be taught gently. From the wall, my younger self gazed back, the woman who'd built an empire from nothing, who'd dressed celebrities and royalty, who'd never forgotten where she came from but refused to stay there. That woman was about to make a comeback. And Vanessa Johnson had no idea what was coming. Grace arrived at my house the next morning with a leather portfolio thick with documents. We sat in my home office, the one behind the hidden door that looked like a pantry from the outside. It's worse than we thought, she said, spreading papers across my mahogany desk. Vanessa's been using her employee discount to buy merchandise and resell it online at markup. That's grounds for immediate termination. There's more. Grace pulled up security footage on her tablet. Last week she told Mrs. Chen, yes, your neighbor, that she was too ethnic for a particular dress. Mrs. Chen didn't realize you owned the store, just mentioned it in passing over the fence. I felt my blood pressure rise. My neighbor? She humiliated my neighbor. And here, Grace showed me another video. She's been taking photos of celebrity clients without permission, posting them on her social media. Look who I styled today. Complete violation of our privacy policy. I studied the evidence, piece by damning piece. Customer complaints, policy violations, time theft, and now resale fraud. What about Malik? I asked. His situation? Grace's expression softened. 3 credit cards maxed out. Car payment 2 months behind. They're renting furniture because they can't afford to buy. But on Instagram. She showed me Vanessa's latest posts. designer bags, restaurant selfies, #BossLady hashtags. All smoke and mirrors, funded by debt they'd never escape. She's been telling co-workers she comes from money, Grace continued. Says her mother-in-law is difficult because she's jealous of Vanessa's success. Jealous? I had to laugh. Of what? Her ability to destroy my son's credit. There's something else. Grace hesitated. Mr. Davidson? The supervisor she's been flirting with? He's been promising her a promotion that doesn't exist. He has no authority to promote anyone. He's playing her. And she's falling for it? Hook, line, and sinker. She brought him coffee every day last week. Stayed late to discuss strategy. His wife found out. There's going to be drama. I leaned back in my chair, surrounded by the truth of who I was. Awards from Milan, Paris, New York. Letters from grateful clients. Bank statements that would make Vanessa faint. Schedule the visit for Thursday, I decided. Peak hours. I want witnesses. Your usual disguise? Full church lady. The works. I smiled grimly. Let's see how she treats someone she thinks has nothing to offer. Grace made notes. What about Malik? Do we warn him? No. He made his choice. Stood silent while she humiliated me at his father's funeral. He needs to learn. Tough love. The toughest. My phone rang. Aisha. Hey, baby girl. Mama, you okay? Malik told me what Vanessa said yesterday. About you being embarrassing and all that. I'm fine, sweetheart. No, you're not. And I'm tired of it. You want me to talk to her? No, Aisha. Let it be. But Mama, trust me. Some problems solve themselves if you give them enough rope. She sighed. I don't understand why you let her disrespect you. If she knew who you really, Aisha. My voice was firm. Not yet. It's been 30 years, Mama. Daddy's gone. Why keep hiding? I looked at Grace, who was pretending not to listen. Because the lesson wouldn't stick if it came easy. Your brother needs to see who he married without my influence. And Vanessa, she needs to fall from a height of her own making. You're playing a long game. The longest. Just, don't let her hurt you, Mama. You're worth 100 of her. More like 1,000,000, but who's counting? I winked at Grace. I love you, baby. How's school? We chatted about her students, her lesson plans, her simple, honest life. My daughter, who found joy in teaching, who drove a 10-year-old Honda with pride, who understood that worth wasn't measured in labels. After we hung up, Grace showed me more evidence. Emails where Vanessa took credit for other employees' sales. Security footage of her arriving late, leaving early. A particularly nasty Yelp review that matched her writing style, trashing a competitor. She's a liability, Grace summarized. Any other employee would have been gone months ago. But she's not any other employee. She's my daughter-in-law, which is why you've protected her this long. I nodded. It was true. Despite everything, I'd held back, hoping she'd improve, hoping Malik would see sense. But Clarence's funeral had changed everything. Pull her personnel file, I instructed. Full audit. Every transaction, every customer interaction, every policy violation. Build the case airtight. And then we let her hang herself. Publicly. Grace gathered the documents. You know, Mrs. J, in all my years working for you, I've never seen you this angry. She laughed at my husband's funeral, Grace. Called me cheap while wearing my designs. Using my name to impress people while telling them I'm an embarrassment. Pride goeth before, a very hard fall, I finished. And Vanessa's about to learn that some falls you don't get up from. As Grace left, I sat alone in my real office, surrounded by my real life. Tomorrow, I'd go back to being Invisible Evelyn, the pastor's widow in her modest house. But Thursday, Vanessa would meet the real Mrs. Johnson, and her whole world would come crashing down. What would you have done if your own daughter-in-law humiliated you in front of your family? Let me know in the comments. Thursday arrived crisp and clear. I stood before my bathroom mirror, transforming myself into Vanessa's worst nightmare, a poor black church lady who dared to enter her exclusive world. I chose carefully, a floral dress from Target, clearance rack. Sensible shoes from Payless, before they closed. A handbag I'd bought at Goodwill for this exact purpose. Hair in a simple bun, reading glasses on a chain, no makeup except drugstore lipstick. Perfect, I muttered, looking every inch the woman Vanessa expected me to be. Grace waited in the car, not my Camry, but a beaten-up sedan we kept for surveillance. You sure about this, Mrs. J? Never been more sure of anything in my life. The drive to Buckhead felt like preparing for war. My flagship boutique rose before us, all glass and marble, the EJ logo gleaming gold in the afternoon sun. My baby. My first store, built from nothing but determination and sleepless nights. She's working the main floor today, Grace confirmed, checking her phone. Just posted on Instagram, another day of serving luxury to those who deserve it. Those who deserve it. I shook my head. Let's see if I deserve it. We parked around back. Grace would enter separately, pretending to shop while documenting everything. I waited 10 minutes, then walked through the front door. The scent hit me first, my signature fragrance, developed in Grasse, France. Soft jazz played, the lighting perfect, every detail exactly as I'd designed it. My sanctuary, infected by my daughter-in-law's poison. May I help you? Not Vanessa. A young woman named Keisha, according to her name tag. New, nervous, sweet-faced. Just browsing, baby, I said, adding a little extra southern to my voice. Of course. Let me know if you need anything. We're having a special on, Keisha. Vanessa's voice cracked like a whip. What are you doing? Helping this lady. I'll take it from here. Go reorganize the stockroom. Keisha scurried away. Vanessa turned to me, and I watched her take in every detail of my appearance. Her nose actually wrinkled. Mama Evelyn. Not a greeting. An accusation. Hello, Vanessa. Fancy seeing you here. This is where I work. What are you doing here? Shopping. Is that allowed? She laughed, that same cruel sound from the funeral. Shopping? Here? Mama, do you know where you are? A clothing store? This is EJ Couture. Everything here costs more than your mortgage payment. The cheapest item is probably worth more than that whole outfit you're wearing. I touched my dress innocently. This old thing? Well, I thought I might treat myself. Since my husband passed. Oh, please. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. Look, I'll do you a favor. There's a nice little shop down the street. Dress for less. More your speed. They have layaway. But I want to look here. Mama Evelyn. Her tone turned condescending, like talking to a child. This is embarrassing. For both of us. My co-workers are watching. What will they think if they see my mother-in-law fumbling around, touching things she can't afford? I have money. Social Security isn't money. Not here. She glanced around, then grabbed my elbow. Come on. Let me walk you out before. I pulled away. I'd like to see the dresses. Her face flushed. The dresses? The dresses? Do you know our dresses start at $3,000? I can read price tags. No, you can't afford these price tags. There's a difference. Other customers were watching now. Grace had positioned herself perfectly, phone angled to catch everything. What if someone looks poor but is actually rich? I asked, echoing our conversation from weeks ago. Vanessa rolled her eyes. Not this again. Rich people don't shop in Target florals. They don't carry pleather purses. They don't, she gestured at my shoes. They don't wear whatever those are. So you judge customers by their appearance? I judge reality. And the reality is, you don't belong here. I'd like to speak to a manager. For what? To complain that you can't afford our clothes? They'll tell you the same thing I'm telling you. This isn't for you. I spotted a dress on display, one of my favorites from the spring collection. Midnight blue silk, hand-embroidered with silver thread. That's beautiful. That's $8,000. May I try it on? She actually laughed in my face. Try it on? You can't even afford to breathe near it. That dress is for women of substance. CEOs, celebrities, people who matter. Not church ladies playing dress-up. Everyone matters, Vanessa. No, they don't. That's what you never understood. That's why you're still shopping clearance racks while I'm here, building an empire. An empire? Mr. Davidson says I have executive potential. Says I could run this whole company someday. The company you don't even know who owns? She waved dismissively. Doesn't matter. What matters is I'm going places. While you're stuck in that old house, clipping coupons, pretending poverty is noble. And if I told you I could buy this entire store, I'd say dementia is setting in early. She pulled out her phone. You know what? I'm calling Malik. He needs to come get you before you embarrass yourself further. No need. I straightened my shoulders. I'll take the blue dress. Size 6. You'll take, she sputtered. Mama, stop. This is getting pathetic. Ring it up. I'm not ringing up anything. You need to leave. Now. Is there a problem here? We both turned. The store manager, Mrs. Patricia Williams, stood watching us. I'd hired her personally 5 years ago. Mrs. Williams, Vanessa's whole demeanor changed. Just handling a situation. This person is confused about our price points. Patricia's eyes found mine. Recognition flickered, but she kept her professional mask. I see. And you are? Evelyn Johnson, I said simply. I'd like to purchase the blue dress. Of course, Mrs. Johnson. Patricia's voice carried weight. I'll handle this personally. But, Vanessa started. Vanessa, why don't you take your break? My break? But I'm helping. Now. Vanessa stomped off, muttering under her breath. Patricia waited until she was gone, then leaned closer. Mrs. J, I am so sorry. I had no idea she was your play along, I whispered. And call corporate. Tell them Miss Johnson is here. Her eyes widened. The board meeting. They're all upstairs. Perfect. Give me 15 minutes, then make the announcement. Yes, ma'am. I spent those 15 minutes browsing, feeling Vanessa's eyes burning holes in my back. She'd returned from her break, whispering furiously with Mr. Davidson in the corner. Other employees watched nervously, sensing drama. Then Patricia's voice came over the intercom. Attention, staff. We have a very special guest. Mrs. Evelyn Johnson, our founder and CEO, is visiting the floor. The silence was deafening. I turned slowly, meeting Vanessa's eyes across the showroom. Watched the color drain from her face as the pieces clicked into place. Ajay Couture. Evelyn Johnson. Her mother-in-law. Her boss. No, she whispered. No, no, no. I walked toward her, my Target dress swishing, my Payless shoes clicking on marble I'd chosen myself. Hello again, Vanessa, I said pleasantly. Now, about that dress. I'll take it. Along with your resignation. She stood frozen, mouth opening and closing like a fish gasping for air. Mr. Davidson had backed away, suddenly very interested in a display across the room. You can't. This isn't. I didn't. No? I finished. No, you didn't. You were too busy judging appearances to see reality. Too arrogant to learn who signs your paychecks. Too cruel to treat your mother-in-law with basic respect. Mrs. Johnson, please. That's what you should have called me at my husband's funeral, instead of laughing at my dress. The board members had appeared on the stairs, watching. My executives, my team, witnessing Vanessa's humiliation. I believe Grace has some documents to share, I said calmly. Grace stepped forward with her portfolio. Policy violations. Customer complaints. Fraud. Fraud. Vanessa's voice cracked. Reselling merchandise. We have the receipts. And the website. Vanessa swayed on her designer heels. Malik? Does Malik know? He's about to. Please, she begged, tears starting. Please, I can change. I didn't mean. You meant every word. At the funeral. In my kitchen. Just now. I looked around my boutique, my empire built on respect and hard work. You're fired, Vanessa. Security will escort you out. You can't do this. I'm family. Family doesn't laugh at funerals. Family doesn't mock struggle. Family doesn't treat people as less than because of what they wear. Security arrived. Gentle but firm, they flanked Vanessa. This isn't over, she screamed as they led her away. Malik will never forgive you. You've ruined our lives. No, I said quietly. You ruined your own life the day you chose cruelty over kindness. The doors closed behind her. The boutique fell silent. Then Patricia started clapping. Slowly, others joined. My employees, applauding not for the drama, but for justice served. I looked down at my Target dress, my Goodwill purse, my Payless shoes. Then up at my empire, built by these hands, protected by this heart. Mrs. Williams, I said, I'll take that blue dress now, and have it sent to my house. The real one. Yes, Mrs. Johnson. Right away. I walked out of my boutique with my head high, leaving whispers and shock in my wake. Vanessa thought she was building an empire. She never realized she was working in mine. What would you have done if your own daughter-in-law humiliated you in front of your family? Let me know in the comments. My phone started ringing before I even reached the car. Malik. I let it go to voicemail. The second call came immediately. Then the third. You want me to drive you home? Grace asked gently. Yes. He'll show up there eventually. The fourth call. The fifth. Then texts started flooding in. Mama, what did you do? Vanessa is hysterical. This can't be true. Answer your phone. How could you lie to me all these years? I turned the phone to silent and watched the city pass by. 30 years of secrets, about to explode in my living room. We'd barely pulled into my driveway when Malik's BMW screeched up behind us, the one he couldn't afford, with payments 2 months behind. Mama! He jumped out, still in his bank teller uniform. What the hell is going on? Vanessa called me screaming that you're. Come inside, son. No. Tell me right now. Are you really the owner of EJ Couture? Mrs. Chen was watering her roses next door, pretending not to watch. I waved at her. Inside, Malik. He followed me, vibrating with anger and confusion. Grace excused herself to the kitchen, giving us privacy. Sit down, I said. I don't want to sit. I want answers. Vanessa says you humiliated her, got her fired. Vanessa got herself fired. By lying about who you are. I never lied. You never asked. Never asked. He laughed bitterly. Never asked if my mother secretly owned a fashion empire? That's not something that comes up in normal conversation. I sat in Clarence's old recliner, steady as a rock. What did you think I did all those years when you were in school? Daddy said you had a little sewing business. I did. It grew. Grew. He paced my living room like a caged animal. Mama, Vanessa says EJ Couture has stores all over the South. Says you're worth millions. That can't be true. Why can't it? Because we lived here. He gestured around my modest living room. Because you shop at Kroger. Because you drive that old Camry. Because at Daddy's funeral you wore, he stopped, a $50,000 dress that your wife mocked. He sank onto the couch. This isn't real. Oh, it's very real. I stood. Follow me. I led him to the pantry door, pressed my thumb to the hidden scanner. His eyes widened as it swung open, revealing my true office. What the? He walked in slowly, taking in the awards, the photos, the contracts spread across my desk. Pictures of me with celebrities, fashion weeks in Paris, magazine covers proclaiming me the Queen of Southern Couture. This has been here the whole time? The whole time. He picked up a photo, me shaking hands with Oprah at a charity gala. Why? Why hide this? Your father and I wanted you and Aisha to grow up with values, not vanity. To understand work, struggle, the importance of treating everyone with respect. So you lied to us? We protected you. There's a difference. Protected us from what? From having an easier life. I turned to face him fully. From becoming like your wife. He flinched. Don't. The woman who laughed at my funeral dress. Who calls me an embarrassment. Who told Mrs. Chen she was too ethnic for my designs. Who's been stealing from my company to fund a lifestyle you can't afford. Vanessa's not stealing. Grace appeared in the doorway, holding a folder. Actually, she handed Malik the evidence. Receipts, screenshots, bank records. His face grew paler with each page. 80,000 in debt, he whispered. And climbing, Grace confirmed. The furniture you're renting, the trips to Miami, the designer goods, all on credit. All while she told people she came from money. She said she was getting promoted. By a supervisor with no authority to promote anyone. She was being played, Malik. Just like she was playing you. He dropped the papers, head in his hands. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Would you have believed me? Or would you have taken her side, like you did at the funeral? I didn't. You stood there silent while she humiliated me. Your father not even cold in the ground, and you let her mock me in front of everyone. I was trying to keep the peace. No, you were being a coward. And that stops now. He looked up, tears in his eyes. What am I supposed to do? She's my wife. She's a woman who married you thinking you'd inherit money. Who's been lying to you about promotions while flirting with another man. Who treated your mother like garbage because she thought I was poor. But I love her. Do you? Or do you love the image she projects? The fantasy of success she's selling. He was quiet for a long moment, staring at the evidence of his wife's deception. All those times she insulted you, said you were holding us back. I was holding you up. Every time you were late on rent, who did you call? When your car needed repairs. When you needed groceries. You, he admitted quietly. But I was never good enough for her. Never dressed right, never lived right. Because she couldn't see past appearances to reality. Like I couldn't see past her appearance to her reality. Now you're learning. He stood, walked to the wall of awards. You built all this? From nothing. While your father preached about humility and service, I built an empire on those same principles. Every employee paid fairly, every customer treated with respect. Until Vanessa. She's going to be devastated. She's going to be unemployed. What you do about your marriage is your choice. Mama, but know this, I'm done hiding. Done pretending. Done letting anyone, including family, disrespect me or what I've built. He turned to me, looking lost. What about my job? The house we're renting? Without her income, you're a grown man, Malik. Figure it out. Just like I did when I was younger than you, with 2 babies and a sewing machine. That's cold, Mama. No, that's reality. Something you and your wife have been avoiding. His phone buzzed. Vanessa, no doubt. He didn't answer. Can I? He hesitated. Can I see the rest? The real you? I led him through my hidden closet, the warehouse of couture, the designs for next season. His eyes grew wider with each revelation. This is insane. You're like fashion royalty or something. I'm a black woman from Bankhead who refused to let anyone put me in a box, including my own family. We ended up back in the living room. He sat heavily, processing everything. Aisha knew? Aisha suspected. She's observant, unlike some people. That's why she was never impressed by Vanessa's bragging. Your sister measures worth differently, like your father did. Daddy really knew? This whole time. Who do you think encouraged me to keep growing? He just insisted we stay humble about it. Money changes people, he'd say. He was right. Malik's phone rang again. This time he answered. Vanessa, he paused, listening. No, it's true. All of it. Another pause. I'm at her house now. There's an entire office. Pictures, awards. His voice hardened. The debt? The promotion that doesn't exist? Mr. Davidson. I could hear her shrieking through the phone. Denials, accusations, tears. We'll talk when I get home, he said finally. No, don't go to your mother's. We need to, Vanessa? Vanessa? He lowered the phone. She hung up. She's scared. Her whole world just collapsed. Good, he said, surprising me. Maybe now she'll understand how you felt at Daddy's funeral. We sat in silence for a moment. Then he asked, what happens now? That's up to you. I've set my boundaries. No more disrespect. No more hiding who I am. You can accept that or not. And if Vanessa can't accept it, then you have a choice to make. Your wife's ego or your family's truth. He stood to leave, then turned back. The money. All these years, you could have made our lives easier. I could have made your lives emptier. There's a difference between easy and meaningful. I need to think. Think hard. And Malik? You might want to check your credit report. And hers. He left, shoulders slumped, driving away in a car he couldn't afford to a house full of rented furniture and broken dreams. Grace emerged from the kitchen. You think he'll leave her? I think he'll finally see her. What he does after that is his choice. And if he chooses her? I looked around my modest living room, then back toward my hidden office, my secret life now exposed. Then he'll learn what it really means to struggle. Without his mama's hidden help. Tough love. The toughest. But sometimes that's what it takes to break generational curses. I picked up my phone. 17 missed calls from Vanessa, 43 from Malik, and 1 from Aisha. Proud of you, Mama. Finally. Finally, indeed. 3 days passed before Vanessa showed up at my door. Sunday morning, 7 a.m. I was drinking coffee in my kitchen when the doorbell rang insistently. Through the peephole, I saw her, designer clothes wrinkled, makeup smeared, holding a tissue. The same woman who'd mocked my appearance now looked like she'd been sleeping in her car. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. Mrs. Johnson, she started, then caught herself. Miss Johnson. Ma'am. Can I come in? No. She flinched. Please. I need to talk to you. Talk from there. She glanced around the neighborhood, probably worried someone would see her begging. Pride, even in desperation. I'm sorry, she blurted out. For everything. The funeral, the comments, the disrespect. You're sorry you got caught?
No,
I mean, yes, but, she took a shaky breath.
I didn't know who you were. And that makes it acceptable?
To mock a widow at her husband's funeral.
I was wrong. You were cruel. There's a difference.
She started crying, ugly, desperate sobs. Please, Mrs. Johnson. I can't lose this job.
It's everything to me. Everything? I thought Malik was everything to you. He won't talk to me.
He's been staying at his friend's house.
Says he needs space to think.
Good for him, I thought. I can change, she continued.
I can be better.
Just give me another chance. Like the chance you gave Mrs. Chen? Or Ms. Rodriguez, who you told was too short and dumpy for our clothes? Or every customer you judged by their appearance?
I didn't mean. You meant every word.
You just didn't think there'd be consequences. She fell to her knees on my porch. Actually fell to her knees.
Please. I'll do anything.
Get up, I said sharply.
Have some dignity.
She struggled to her feet, swaying.
I haven't slept. Haven't eaten. My whole life is falling apart.
The life built on lies and credit cards?
I know I messed up.
I laughed, but there was no humor in it.
You committed fraud. Stole from my company.
Humiliated my customers.
Disrespected my family.
That's not messing up, Vanessa.
That's revealing who you are. That's not who I am. Really? Then who are you?
She opened her mouth, closed it. For maybe the first time in her life, Vanessa had no words.
I'll tell you who you are, I continued.
You're a woman so consumed with appearances that you've lost sight of substance. So desperate to seem successful that you've destroyed your actual success. So eager to look down on others that you never looked up to see who was above you.
I can learn. From whom?
Mr. Davidson? The supervisor you've been flirting with who's been lying to you about promotions. Her face crumbled.
You know about that?
I know everything, Vanessa. Every complaint, every violation, every lie.
I've known for months. I kept you on because you were family.
Because I hoped Malik would see sense. Because I believed people could change.
I can change. Can you?
Can you look at someone in Target clothes and see their worth? Can you serve customers without judging their appearance? Can you work retail without acting like you're above it?
Yes. Prove it. Hope flickered in her eyes. How?
Go work somewhere else. Start at the bottom.
Learn humility.
In 5 years, if you've truly changed, send me a letter.
I'll consider it. 5 years.
That's how long it took me to build my first store. Working 18-hour days, sleeping in the back room, eating ramen for months. You want to be in fashion? Learn what it really takes.
But I need money now.
The bills, the debt you created chasing an image?
That's your responsibility. What about Malik?
If I don't have a job, Malik has his own choices to make. She pulled out her phone, showed me her Instagram.
I'll delete it all.
The posts, the bragging. Deleting evidence doesn't delete character, Vanessa.
You hate me.
It wasn't a question.
No. I pity you.
You had everything. A good husband, a stable job, a family that accepted you. And you threw it away because it wasn't glamorous enough.
Your family never accepted me.
We accepted you until you showed us who you were. A woman who laughs at funerals and mocks struggle.
She tried one more time. What about forgiveness?
Your husband was a pastor.
Doesn't the Bible say, "Don't you dare"?
My voice went cold. Don't you dare invoke my husband's memory to manipulate me.
The same man whose funeral you disrupted with your cruelty.
She backed away from my door.
This isn't over.
I'll sue for wrongful termination.
Discrimination. Emotional distress. Try it.
I smiled. I have the best lawyers money can buy, and evidence of your fraud. How do you think that ends for you? Reality finally hit her. She stood on my porch, designer clothes wrinkled, red-bottom shoes scuffed, watching her carefully constructed world crumble. I really thought I was better than you, she whispered.
I know.
I thought success meant looking successful.
And now?
She looked at my modest house, my simple robe, my bare face. Then her shoulders dropped in defeat.
Now I'm nobody.
No, I corrected.
Now you have the chance to become somebody.
Somebody real. But that's up to you. She turned to leave, then looked back.
Did you plan this? From the beginning.
I planned to be a good mother-in-law.
You planned to mock me. We both got what we worked for.
She walked to her car, a Mercedes she couldn't afford, and drove away. I knew she'd be back, probably with Malik, probably with more tears and manipulation.
But I was done.
Done hiding, done enabling, done pretending respect was optional. Grace appeared beside me.
You think she learned anything?
She learned I'm rich. Whether she learns why I became rich, through hard work, respect, and integrity, that's a different lesson entirely.
And if she doesn't learn?
I closed my door on Vanessa's retreating car. Then she'll end up exactly where she started. Selling clothes she can't afford to people she doesn't respect, wondering why success keeps slipping through her fingers.
Harsh.
Necessary. Some people need to fall all the way down before they can learn to climb up properly. I returned to my coffee, now cold. Outside, the sun was rising over my modest neighborhood, where good people lived good lives without designer labels.
Vanessa thought this was embarrassing. I called it home.
2 weeks after Vanessa's desperate visit, Malik finally came home. Not to his rental house with the leased furniture, but to my door, carrying a duffel bag and looking like he'd aged 5 years. Can I stay here for a while, Mama?
I stepped aside to let him in. Your room's always ready.
He dropped his bag in the hallway and followed me to the kitchen. I poured him coffee, strong and black, the way Clarence taught him to drink it.
You look tired, baby. Haven't been sleeping much.
He wrapped his hands around the mug. Vanessa's been calling non-stop.
Showing up at the bank. Making scenes. And
I filed for divorce yesterday.
I kept my face neutral. That's a big decision. You were right. About everything. He pulled out a folder. I hired a forensic accountant. The debt is worse than we thought.
She opened credit cards in my name. Forged my signature on loan applications.
Identity theft. Among other things.
Turns out she's been living this lie way before me. Her ex-boyfriend is suing her for similar fraud. She owes money all over Atlanta. I sipped my coffee, letting him talk.
You know what the worst part is? He looked up at me with Clarence's eyes.
I enabled it. Every time she disrespected you, every time she acted superior, I stayed quiet.
Kept the peace. Let her think she was right. Why? Because...
He struggled for words. Because I thought if I married someone who dressed rich and acted rich, I'd become rich. Like success was contagious or something.
And now?
Now I'm 36, getting divorced, in debt, and moving back in with my mama.
He laughed bitterly. Some success story. You have a job. Your health. Family who loves you. That's more than a lot of people. But it's not enough. Look at what you built, Mama. An empire. From nothing.
I built it one dress at a time. One customer at a time. One 16-hour day at a time. There's no shortcut to real success, Malik. He was quiet for a moment. Then, can I ask you something?
Always. Why didn't you help us more? Knowing we were struggling.
I set down my mug carefully.
I did help.
Every time you called. But help and enabling are different things.
But you could have, what? Given you a position at the company? Handed you a salary you didn't earn? Taught you that success comes from who you know, not what you do. It would have prevented this mess with Vanessa. No. It would have created a different mess. You'd have married someone else for the wrong reasons. Or become the kind of person who looks down on others. Like she did. He absorbed that. Aisha never asked for help. Aisha found her own path. Teaching doesn't pay much, but she's rich in purpose. In respect. In dignity. And I'm rich in debt and regret. You're rich in lessons learned. That's valuable too, if you use it right. He stood, pacing the kitchen. I want to work for you. No. Mama. Sit down, Malik. I waited until he complied. If you want to work in fashion, you start at the bottom. Not because you're my son, but despite it. What do you mean? I mean you apply like anyone else. Interview like anyone else. Start in the stockroom or on the floor like anyone else. No special treatment. No fast track. No nepotism. That's harsh. That's fair. You want to be in my company? Earn it. And if I don't want to work in fashion? Then find what you do want. But find it yourself. Build it yourself. Fail and succeed yourself. He looked around my kitchen, the same kitchen where Vanessa had mocked my cooking, my clothes, my life. Can I tell you something? He said quietly. I'm ashamed of how I treated you, how I let her treat you, how I valued the wrong things. Shame is useless unless it leads to change. I want to change. I do. I just don't know how. I reached across the table, took his hand. Start by being the man your father raised. Honest. Hard-working. Respectful. The rest will follow. You make it sound easy. It's the hardest thing in the world. But it's the only thing worth doing. His phone buzzed. Vanessa again. He declined the call. She's staying with her mother, he said. Telling everyone you ruined her life. Playing the victim. Let her. The truth has a way of surfacing. Like your truth did? Exactly like that. He finished his coffee, then asked, Can I see it again? The office? The real you? I led him through the hidden door. This time, he moved slowly, studying each photo, each award, each piece of the puzzle that was his mother. You met Oprah, he said, stopping at that photo. Several times. She wore my designs to the Oscars once. And you never said anything. What was I supposed to say? Pass the peas. And by the way, I dressed Oprah? He actually smiled. That would have been something at Sunday dinner. Your father would have laughed. Then reminded me that pride goeth before a fall. Vanessa's learning that now. Are you? He turned to me. I want to be better, Mama. I want to earn my success, not marry it or fake it. Will you teach me? I'll teach you what I taught every employee who ever worked for me. Respect everyone. Work harder than anyone. Stay humble. The rest is just details. That's it. That's everything. We returned to the kitchen. He gathered his courage, then asked, What about the will? Daddy's estate. Your father left everything to me. What I do with it is my decision. And that depends on you and Aisha. How you live. What you build. Who you become. So we have to earn our inheritance too? You have to deserve it. There's a difference. He nodded slowly. I get it. Finally. Do you? Yeah. You and Daddy didn't want to raise rich kids. You wanted to raise good kids. And did we? He thought about it. Aisha, yes. Me? Jury's still out. Then get to work on the verdict. He stood to go unpack. At the doorway, he turned back. Mama? What you said at the funeral, about the dress being worth more than Vanessa's salary, was that true? Every word. But you let her laugh at you. Sometimes you have to let people reveal themselves. She showed everyone who she was that day. I just gave her the stage. And then pulled it out from under her. With style, I added, allowing myself a small smile. Definitely with style. As he headed upstairs, I called after him, Malik. Yeah, Mama? Your father would be proud of you. For choosing truth over comfort. For starting over. For coming home. His eyes misted. You think so? I know so. He always said you'd find your way. Just might take some detours first. This was one hell of a detour. But you're back on track now. That's what matters. He nodded and disappeared upstairs. I heard him moving around his old room, probably seeing his high school trophies, his college diplomas, reminders of who he was before Vanessa's smoke and mirrors. Grace appeared in the doorway. He's really staying? For now. Until he figures out his next move. And Vanessa? We'll either learn from this or repeat it with someone else. But that's no longer our concern. You're teaching him the hard way. It's the only way that sticks. Clarence knew that. Now Malik's learning it too. I looked out my kitchen window at the garden Clarence had planted. The roses were blooming, red and white and pink, reaching toward the sun. You know what Clarence used to say? I asked Grace. He'd say, Evie, money's like manure. Pile it up, and it just stinks. Spread it around, help things grow, and it does some good. Wise man. The wisest. Which is why I built an empire but raised our kids in this little house. Why I drove that old Camry while wearing couture. Why I let Vanessa mock me until she hanged herself with her own rope. And now? Now Malik gets to learn what I learned at his age. Success isn't about what you wear or drive or post on Instagram. It's about what you build when no one's watching. What you create that lasts longer than trends. Think he'll make it? I heard him moving around upstairs, starting his new chapter in his childhood room. He's got his father's heart and his mother's hustle. He'll make it. Just needs to stop looking for shortcuts and start walking the path. The long path. The only path worth taking. As Grace left to handle business, I sat alone in my kitchen, in my modest house, surrounded by memories of the life Clarence and I built. Not the empire, that was just business. But this family, these values, these lessons passed down through struggle and triumph. Vanessa thought she'd married into nothing. She'd actually married into everything. She just couldn't see it through all that designer glare. 5 years later I stood in the flagship boutique, watching my son work the floor. Malik moved with confidence now, helping a customer find the perfect dress for her daughter's wedding. His approach was different from 5 years ago. Patient, respectful, seeing the person before the purchase. Mrs. Washington, this would be stunning on you, he said, holding up an emerald green gown. And look, it has pockets. The older woman laughed. Sold. You know what us church ladies need, somewhere to keep our mints and tissues. I smiled from my spot near the stairs. He'd learned. Mama. Aisha appeared beside me, radiant in one of my designs. You ready? The ceremony starts in an hour. The ceremony. Today, we were opening the Clarence Johnson Foundation for Fashion Education, providing scholarships and apprenticeships for young people from underserved communities. Aisha had spearheaded the whole project, using her inheritance to create opportunity instead of just enjoying luxury. I'm ready, baby. You look beautiful. Malik designed it, she said, doing a little spin. Can you believe it? Our boy actually learned to sew. I could believe it. I'd watched him start at the bottom, stockroom, sales floor, alterations. Watched him stay late to study fabric, come early to practice stitching. No shortcuts, no special treatment. Just work. Mrs. J. Patricia Williams approached. There's someone here to see you. I followed her to the office, expecting a reporter or dignitary.
Instead, I found Vanessa. She looked different. Gone were the designer labels and red-bottom shoes. She wore a simple black dress, well-made but modest. Her hair was natural now, pulled back in a low bun. The desperation in her eyes had been replaced by something else. Determination, maybe. Or wisdom. Hello, Mrs. Johnson. Vanessa. I know I'm probably the last person you want to see today. Then why are you here? She pulled out an envelope. You said 5 years. If I changed. If I learned. It's been 5 years. I took the envelope but didn't open it. And I've been working at a community thrift store in College Park. Started as a volunteer, worked my way up to manager. We help women getting back on their feet find clothes for job interviews. I see. I teach them what you tried to teach me, that respect matters more than labels. That service beats status. That real success is measured in who you help, not what you wear. And you believe that now? I live it. Every day. She paused. I also wanted to apologize. Again. Properly. For the funeral, for the way I treated you, for everything. I was wrong. Not just because you were rich, but because I was cruel. To you, to your customers, to anyone I thought was beneath me. And Malik? We've been divorced for 4 years. He's better off without me. I see that now. I studied her, this woman who'd mocked me at my husband's funeral. She did look different. Humbled. Real. I'm not asking for a job, she continued. I just wanted you to know that your words that day, they saved me. From becoming someone even worse. From losing myself completely in pursuit of an image. What do you want, Vanessa? To thank you. And to ask if maybe, once a month, I could bring some of my clients here. Not to buy, they couldn't afford it. But to see. To dream. To understand that fashion can be art, can be aspiration, can be accessible even when you're looking from the outside. I was quiet for a long moment. Then I opened the envelope. Inside were photos of her work, letters from women she'd helped, a business plan for expanding the thrift store's services. Once a month, I said finally. Sundays, when we're closed. I'll have my team do styling workshops. Show them how to look professional on a budget. How to carry themselves with confidence regardless of labels. Her eyes filled with tears. Really? Everyone deserves a second chance, Vanessa. Even those who laugh at funerals. I'll never forget that day. The shame of it. Good. Use it. Let it remind you that cruelty has consequences, but growth has rewards. She stood to leave, then turned back. Can I ask you something? Go ahead. Why didn't you destroy me completely? You could have pressed charges, ruined my reputation permanently. Why show mercy? Because my husband was a pastor who believed in redemption. Because my success means nothing if I use it to crush people instead of lift them. Because you were family, however briefly, and family deserves a chance to do better. Clarence sounds like he was a good man. The best. Which is why I wore a $50,000 dress to his funeral, not to impress anyone, but because he gave it to me for our last anniversary. Said I should wear it when I needed to feel his love around me. And I mocked it. And you mocked it. But here we are, 5 years later. You're helping women find dignity through clothing, and I'm opening a foundation in my husband's name. Pain can lead to purpose if you let it. She left quietly, and I returned to the main floor. The foundation launch was beginning, the boutique filled with young people eager to learn, to build, to create their own success stories. Malik took the microphone, confident now in a way that had nothing to do with designer labels. Welcome to the Clarence Johnson Foundation, he began. My father used to say that clothes don't make the man, but they can help him stand tall while he's becoming who he's meant to be. Today, we honor that philosophy. I stood with Aisha, watching my son speak about values, about work, about the long road to real success. In the audience, I spotted Mrs. Chen, my neighbor who Vanessa had insulted. She winked at me, proud of how far we'd all come. You did it, Mama, Aisha whispered.
You built all this.
We built it, I corrected. Every struggle, every lesson, every hard choice.
We built it together. Even Vanessa? Even Vanessa.
Sometimes the best teachers are the ones who show us who not to be. As Malik finished his speech, the crowd applauded. Young faces full of hope, ready to learn that fashion was more than labels, that success was more than appearance, that respect was the finest thing you could wear.
I thought of Clarence, how proud he'd be. Not of the empire or the money or the recognition, but of this, his family using their blessings to bless others.
Hey, Mama, Malik said, approaching after the ceremony.
There's someone from Vogue here. Wants to do a story on the foundation. Tell them yes.
But make sure they mention the thrift store partnership. Vanessa's work deserves recognition too.
He raised an eyebrow. You sure?
Everyone deserves their redemption story, son.
Even those who start as villains.
He hugged me tight. I love you, Mama.
Thank you for not giving up on me. Never.
That's what family does. We hold each other accountable and hold each other up.
As the celebration continued, I slipped away to my office.
No longer hidden, the door now proudly marked Evelyn Johnson, founder and CEO. I sat at my desk, looking at the photo of Clarence I kept front and center. We did it, baby, I whispered. Raised them right, even when it was hard.
Even when they stumbled.
A knock at the door interrupted my thoughts. Grace entered with a tablet. The foundation launch is trending, she said, showing me the social media feeds.
And look at this comment. I read it aloud. Just saw Mrs. Johnson's story.
At my mother-in-law's funeral, I mocked her appearance too. This made me call and apologize.
Thank you for sharing this. Sandra from Houston.
Your story's touching people, Grace said. Making them think about how they treat others.
Good.
That's worth more than all the boutiques in the world. I stood, straightening my dress, another one of my own designs, simple but elegant.
Let's get back to the party.
My grandchildren are probably wondering where I am.
Oh yes, grandchildren.
Malik had remarried 3 years ago, a teacher from Aisha's school, a woman who valued character over credit scores. They had twin boys who called me Glamma, and loved playing hide and seek in the boutique. As we walked back to the celebration, I passed the spot where Vanessa had been escorted out 5 years ago. Now it displayed a plaque. Respect is the finest thing you can wear.
Clarence Johnson. The party was in full swing.
Young designers showing their sketches, students learning about textiles, my employees mentoring the next generation.
This was what success looked like, not just building something for yourself, but creating opportunities for others. Mrs. Johnson?
A young woman approached, nervous but determined.
I'm Keisha.
I was working here the day everything changed.
With your daughter-in-law.
I remembered her, the sweet-faced new employee Vanessa had dismissed so rudely. I wanted to thank you, Keisha continued. Seeing you stand up for yourself, seeing that even successful people face disrespect, it changed how I carry myself. I don't let anyone make me feel small anymore.
Good for you, baby. Never let them.
I'm a manager now. At the Buckhead location. And I always remember what you taught us. Everyone who walks through that door deserves respect, whether they're wearing Gucci or Goodwill.
That's my girl.
As the evening wound down, I found myself on the boutique's balcony, overlooking the Atlanta skyline. Malik and Aisha joined me, one on each side. Daddy would have loved this, Aisha said softly.
He did love it, I corrected. He saw it all in faith before it happened.
Used to tell me, Evie, one day this family's gonna change lives. He just didn't live to see the fullness of it.
But we did, Malik added. Because you didn't give up.
Not on the business, not on us, not even on Vanessa. Family doesn't give up, I said simply. We might get tough, might set boundaries, might let folks learn hard lessons. But we don't give up. The city lights twinkled below us, each one representing a dream, a struggle, a story.
Just like ours. You know what I learned through all this?
Malik asked. Success isn't about what you have. It's about what you do with it. And failure isn't falling down, it's staying down.
Now you sound like your daddy.
I hope so. I hope my boys grow up with those values too.
They will.
Because now you know how to teach them. Through example, not just words. We stood there, 3 generations of Johnsons who'd learned that respect, hard work, and humility were worth more than all the designer labels in the world.
Come on, I said finally. Let's go home.
I'm making Sunday dinner tomorrow, and I need to prep my greens.
From a can?
Malik teased, remembering Vanessa's cruel words. Fresh from Mrs. Chen's garden, thank you very much.
She's teaching me to grow my own.
As we left the boutique, I took one last look at what we'd built. Not just a fashion empire, but a family legacy. Not just beautiful clothes, but beautiful values passed down and lived out. Vanessa had been wrong about so many things, but she'd been right about one. I did need to upgrade my life. I just did it my way, by lifting others up instead of putting them down. And that, as Clarence would say, was the finest thing anyone could wear.
Thank you for joining me on this journey.
If my story touched your heart or made you think about how we treat others, please share it with someone who needs to hear it and subscribe for more videos like this.